Welcome, global viewers. Tel Aviv burns tonight. The mighty Iron Dome has finally fallen. Rockets rain down from every direction. Israel is now trapped inside a massive ring of fire. This apocalypse is no accident. It is the result of a dark, 20-year master plan. Enemies wait in the shadows. They strike when the nation is completely torn apart from within. Pushed to the brink, what extreme weapon will Israel unleash to save itself from total doom? Sirens scream across the darkened city. Endless waves of missiles shatter the coastal starry sky. Radar screens glow with terrifying red alerts. The defense grid is completely overwhelmed right now. For years, the Iron Dome stood as an invisible shield. It protected millions from certain death. But tonight, the interceptor missiles are gone. The legendary system has fired its very last shot. Plumes of smoke rise from shattered concrete buildings. The ground shakes violently under heavy impacts. Frightened citizens huddle deep inside underground shelters. They pray for a miracle that will not come. Military commanders watch their monitors in pure disbelief. The tactical map is bleeding red. Intelligence confirms a coordinated strike. It is a massive, multi-front, brutal assault. Deadly rockets pour in from southern Lebanon. Heavily armed drones swarm over the dark horizon. Missiles launch from deep inside Iranian land. They cross the vast desert at hypersonic speeds. This is no random clash of angry armed militias. It is a flawless, lethal, and brilliant strategy. Forces scramble to deploy emergency reserves. But the sheer volume of incoming fire is too much. Every fighter jet takes to the blazing night sky. They hunt for hidden mobile missile launchers below. Air power fails against unseen ghost armies. The enemy is embedded deep within the ruined streets. Fortresses often fall from within. Yet here, the massive walls are being crushed from every single side. Tel Aviv was a beacon of modern technology. Now, it resembles a terrifying war zone. Responders rush through the chaotic, burning streets. They risk their lives to pull survivors from the rubble. The state declares a massive national emergency. All standard safety protocols are quickly abandoned. If your entire country was surrounded by fire, would you surrender or fight until the bitter end? The ring of fire is now a brutal reality, a deadly noose tightening around the nation's neck. We must rewind the clock to understand this nightmare. Let us look back 2 decades into the shadows. In secret command centers, masterminds studied their foe. They knew a direct war would end in sure defeat. The Israeli army's great strength could not be matched. Their vast armor and air force ruled over the land. Thus, a new asymmetrical doctrine was born. It relied on exhaustion and endless attrition. The gods began building a massive network of proxies. They funded and trained fierce fighters across borders. Weapons flowed through dark, hidden underground smuggling routes. Missiles were secretly assembled in deep caves. The strategy required absolute, endless patience. They built an army of ghosts right on the borderline. In the northern mountains, Hezbollah grew much stronger. They transformed from a militia into an army. They stockpiled over 100,000 deadly rockets. Each weapon was pointed directly at the south. Meanwhile, in the crowded streets of Gaza, Hamas dug deep. They built an intricate subterranean web. Miles of concrete tunnels hid their growing arsenal. They prepared for a brutal urban guerrilla war. The architects of this plan did not rush their attack. They waited for the perfect moment of weakness. They watched as deep crises tore the nation apart. society grew completely divided and fractured. When protests flooded the streets of Jerusalem, the shadow commanders knew their golden time had come. The Dark Order was given an absolute secrecy. The Ring of Fire was finally activated. The first blow lands with terrifying precision, completely shattering the quiet midnight silence. Hezbollah forces unleash a relentless barrage of artillery from the rugged northern mountains. Thousands of rockets cross the heavily guarded border, lighting up the dark sky with trails of deadly fire. Heavy Israeli tank divisions are instantly pinned down by fierce, incoming enemy bombardments. Analysts state this brilliant opening move was designed to paralyze the Northern Command entirely. Soldiers dive into muddy trenches to avoid the shrapnel. The sheer volume of explosions is deafening. Radar arrays in Galilee are swiftly blinded by targeted electronic warfare tactics. Before the High Command can properly assess the northern threat, the southern front aggressively erupts into chaos. Urban guerrilla fighters burst out from hidden tunnel shafts, armed with modern assault rifles and grenades. They move swiftly through the ruined urban landscape. They execute highly coordinated ambush attacks. Border outposts are overrun in a matter of minutes. The southern defense lines begin to crumble. Frontline infantry units find themselves surrounded by a fast, invisible, and ruthless enemy. They fight desperately in tight alleyways filled with broken glass and thick, suffocating concrete dust. Reinforcements cannot reach them because the main highways are severely damaged by rocket strikes. The tactical diorama shows a nightmare unfolding. The military forces are stretched too thin. Just as generals attempt to stabilize the northern and southern borders, a third lethal threat emerges. Miles away, in the remote Yemeni deserts, Houthi drone operators initiate their deadly launch. Swarms of explosive lethal drones rise into the burning sky, flying low to avoid radar detection. They navigate precisely over the dark waters of the Red Sea, targeting coastal infrastructure. Cruise missiles follow right behind the deadly drone formations, aiming to cripple the vital port of Eilat. Massive explosions rock the harbor, sending towering pillars of black smoke into the atmosphere. Crucial supply chains and maritime trade routes are instantly choked off by relentless precision strikes. The nation's economic lifeline is effectively severed. The country is bleeding resources at a rapid rate. 5 battlefronts are fully active and blazing. The pressure on the High Command is truly immense. When faced with a coordinated war of attrition, can advanced technology defeat sheer numbers? By doctrine, a 2-front war is a curse. A 5-front war is a recipe for absolute disaster. Jets are forced to return to damaged air bases. They cannot rearm fast enough to stop the heavy barrage. Logistics hubs are prime targets for ballistic missiles. Supply depots explode with terrifying force. Strategists in the shadowy command centers watch their intricate map with cold satisfaction. Their long investment is finally yielding devastating results. The invincible army is bleeding out. In the dark war room, the leaders sit in stunned silence. The unthinkable reality is sinking in. A conventional victory is totally impossible now. The attrition rate is far too high to sustain. Every passing hour brings more casualties and ruined cities. The existence of the state is threatened. Despair begins to replace calculated strategy. The survival instinct of a cornered nation wakes. Diplomatic channels have completely broken down. No foreign allies can intervene in time to save them. The burden of leadership crushes the men in the bunker. They must make a choice to alter human history. When boundaries of regular warfare are erased, the darkest military secrets are brought to the light. Far from the burning cities, deep inside the arid desert, a highly classified facility stirs. The Negev desert hides the ultimate insurance policy. It is a weapon of absolute destruction. For decades, the state maintained a policy of ambiguity. They never confirmed its true existence. The Samson Option is not a mere conspiracy theory. It is the final protocol for national survival. Named for the hero who brought the temple down upon his foes, it guarantees mutual annihilation. If the nation falls, it will drag the entire Middle East down into a radioactive, burning grave. Massive steel doors slowly groan open beneath the scorching sand. Nuclear silos prepare for a deadly launch. Inside the freezing control room, a commander holds a small red key. His face is pale with sheer dread. He awaits the final transmission from the High Command. One simple code will end millions of lives today. Tension in the war room reaches an agonizing peak. The Prime Minister stares at the red telephone. Generals fiercely argue over the global consequences, but the tactical map offers no other choice. If they do nothing, the state will be erased from the map. If they press the button, the world changes forever. The masterminds in the shadows realize their flawless plan has a flaw. They pushed their foe too close to the edge. Proxy forces continue their relentless urban assault. They are entirely unaware of the atomic fire. A chilling silence falls over the underground command bunker. The decision has finally been made by the leaders. Sweat drips down the face of the silo commander in the desert. He inserts the red key into the panel. Target coordinates are fed into the advanced missile computers. Enemy capitals are locked in the crosshairs. The countdown starts with a cold and mechanical voice. 10 seconds remain until the point of no return. Sirens wail across the ruined streets of burning Tel Aviv. They sound like the final screams of a dying empire. The desert sky suddenly ignites with blinding white light. The unthinkable weapon is finally unleashed. A trail of fire streaks upwards toward the unforgiving heavens. The ring of fire is about to be consumed. This is the brutal reality of modern global warfare. There are no true victors in a nuclear exchange. The legacy of this war will be written in radioactive ash, a dark lesson for future generations. The sudden, blinding flash of light completely illuminates the dark and smoke-filled horizon. Global leaders around the world watch in absolute terror as the ultimate nightmare begins. A massive shockwave violently tears through the entirely barren landscape of the desert. For over 20 long years, the Proxy armies prepared for a glorious, victorious conquest. They never anticipated that a desperate enemy would choose mutual destruction. The masterminds hidden in the shadows now face the terrifying consequences of war. Underground bunkers cannot protect them from the devastating atomic firestorm above. Global communication networks collapse entirely across the vast Middle Eastern region. The advancing guerrilla fighters are instantly vaporized by the searing, blinding heat. The tactical diorama map melts away, leaving only darkness and absolute silence. Decades of meticulous planning and strategy have been reduced to scattered, glowing ash. This is the ultimate paradox of modern deterrence in the 21st century. To ensure absolute survival, A nation must be willing to destroy everything it loves. The once glorious city of Tel Aviv is now a silent graveyard of broken concrete. There are no triumphant victory parades marching through these completely devastated streets. The brilliant architects of the Ring of Fire drastically underestimated human despair. They pushed a wounded tiger into a corner, expecting it to simply lay down and die. Instead, the wounded beast unleashed a massive fury that consumed the entire surrounding forest. The intense, blinding radiation now poisons the very land they fought so bitterly to claim. Generations will inherit a toxic wasteland instead of a thriving, peaceful kingdom. In the dark bunker, the surviving leaders stare blankly at the cold, lifeless monitoring screens. They have successfully defended their borders, but they have completely lost their sacred soul. The devastating cost of the Samson Option will haunt human history until the end of time. This catastrophic event rewrites the core rules of modern geopolitical warfare. No army, no matter how vast or sophisticated, can ever win an atomic confrontation. The meticulously planned proxy war simply triggered the ultimate, terrifying Doomsday device. Dust and radioactive ash quietly settle over the silent, completely ruined Holy Land. Fighter jets lie completely destroyed on the deeply cracked and burning military runways. The elaborate underground tunnel networks of Gaza are now permanent, total tombs. The formidable artillery positions in Lebanon have been entirely wiped away. The relentless drone swarms from Yemen fell helplessly from the heavily poisoned desert sky. All 5 strategic battlefronts have been abruptly silenced by the overwhelming, searing blast. This horrific tragedy proves that asymmetrical warfare carries unprecedented risks. When a threatened nation possesses nuclear capabilities, conventional logic fails. The brilliant masterminds believed they had calculated every possible battle move. They tragically ignored the terrifying psychology of a cornered, desperate foe. The dreaded Samson Option represents the ultimate failure of global political ties. It serves as a grim warning to anyone attempting to choke a nation into submission. The devastating aftermath leaves no vital infrastructure to successfully rebuild. The horrific images of burning cities will permanently scar the human consciousness. Historians will desperately study this catastrophic failure of global relations. They will analyze how the brutal Ring of Fire strategy ultimately led to total ruin. The tactical sand table is forever shattered, serving as a dark monument to hubris. The proxy armies and their brilliant commanders have been entirely reduced to memories. The fierce and unyielding desert winds slowly sweep across massive craters of the wasteland. There is no glorious victory to be celebrated here, only the profound silence of sheer death. This profound tragedy stands as a very dark testament to the limits of military power. The Samson Option is a dark secret, a choice between national survival and global fire. Is using this weapon a justified defense or the ultimate war crime? Share your thoughts below. Subscribe, like this video, and share it to uncover more deep geopolitical secrets.